look at North Korea today. How long do you think that can last? With the explanation that you just gave, how long before? Because there's only so long they can live like that, knowing that the rest of the world is sort of carrying on as normal. How
Yeah.
long could something like North Korea last? Do you think?
Well, I mean, think about it. The Korean War was a war between the United States and Korea, and it's never ended. It's still going on to this day. There's a demilitarization zone, the DMZ, that splits North Korea and South Korea. So I don't even think like that is necessarily North Korea's creation. I think that's more to blame like the United States and China for what's going on in Korea. Like you see basically like Chinese influenced North Korea versus the West influenced South Korea. And they're in like a stalemate where South Korea is clearly benefiting. Their economy is huge. Samsung, Toyota, right? Or some car companies, Hyundai probably. And what does North Korea create? It creates people who freaking run out of their country and like risk their whole life. Like that's their only export is like deranged citizens or estranged citizens, right? So yeah, I think that it's more or less like with that specific example, it's exactly to your point. Like it's inextricably tied to the rest of the world. Like North Korea could not exist the way it does without America and China and Russia and England all doing what they've done for the past 100 so years. I wonder how long that'll last too. But yeah, I've heard some people suggest that it's just a CIA operation, what's going down in North Korea. Like they've used that country as a sort of experiment to see how a totalitarian government affects humanity. And they've done these kind of things, you know, on a small scale and on a large scale. Some people say China and the communist country or Republic of China is in the same way a sort of experiment. In Japan, they turned a former Toyota factory, a huge Toyota factory, into the first smart autonomous city. It's not finished yet, but there's another example of an experimental location where they're, experimenting forms of government or forms of society organization.
Yeah, I've heard China was used as an experiment, and because it's been so successful, that's why they want to start implementing certain things they've put in China into the West.
Yeah. Yeah, the smart cities. Yeah, I think, America is an experiment of a different kind, like the monarchies of Europe, I don't think ever really gave up their power. I think they've been in control very subtly for hundreds of years, and they just kind of divvy up parts of the world and say, okay, Spain, you're going to deal with like this part of South America and Mexico. Portugal, you're going to deal with this part of South America. Dutch, you're going to deal with the Africans here in this part of Africa. The Italians, you're going to deal with like the North Africans, and they just divvy it up, and now you have like Europe, which is like the brain of the world, controlling the various slices of the earth around it. That's why you see the United Nations map with Europe and the Arctic Circle at the center of the map. Flat earthers will say, oh, that's because they're acknowledging the flat earth. And I'm thinking maybe, but really it's just that's their point of view. It's a Eurocentric dominated world. And if you look at the map from Europe at the top, that's what it looks like, right? It looks like the map that the UN uses, the United Nations. Why would the United Nations go with a Eurocentric map? Well, because they're in control of the other nations. I mean, it's that simple. It's not some, Filipino guys that are controlling everything. It's not even the guys in Dubai who have enough money to potentially do that. It's the Europeans. And I wonder if maybe like, again, Dubai isn't another one of these like experiments the same way North Korea is and these communist countries were.